The Mercedes C-Class Facelift has now also reached the performance models by AMG. So today we'll present you here the Mercedes-AMG C63S as a Coupé. We'll also take a look at the C63 Sedan and also the C43 Convertible. So a lot of different variations in the chassis and also in the performance, and we will explain you everything of that and also what has changed from the pre-facelift. Here with Thomas from Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. We go and start with this one in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! So in the front, they have redesigned the front grille and the lower bumper just a little bit. The S model is always a little bit more dramatic, and if you wanted the most dramatic one, you also have an optional aerodynamic package which then stresses the spoilers all around the car. More about that one also at the rear soon. Here you can see that the 63 models, they have those vertical fins right there with the AMG badge. All the sensors are hidden here behind that Mercedes logo. There's a small camera in the front. Here also with a very dramatic matte grey finish. Also those headlights, they have a new swing basically in the headlights. And if you think about, hey, how do I differentiate C-Class, E-Class, S-Class? One swing here, LED for the C, 2 for the E, 3 for the S-Class. Pretty simple to see that then. Those ones are also the optional multi-beam LED headlights with the high beam. In the 63 models, you also get those new LED headlights, normal LED headlights as standard. But as I said, those ones are the optional ones. And in general, also for a normal C-Class facelift, Coupé and Convertible now always come with LED as standard. So all these C-Class models, they remain of course at the same length. The chassis hasn't been touched. All C-Class are around 4.70 meters in length. Just, you know, a little bit variation. This one here, the C63S, of course the most dramatic appearance also at the side, carbon fiber side mirror caps, then a very large lower spoiler, V8 bi-turbo sign right there, soon also more about the engines. Then 18 or 19-inch rims are available. The 63S comes with 19, the 63 with 18, optional for the 19 one. You can see here there's also a contrast all around it. Carbon ceramic brakes, optional if you want to get them. And those wheels here, it's not those ones you can see here, but there are two new available for 18 and 19 inch, which even enhance the aerodynamics. This is a very interesting approach. And then the side part of the rim is even a little bit wider, that there are not so many wind turbulences while turning the wheel at the side of the car. Very interesting aspect. You might think about, why are they doing that? Well, it doesn't really improve the performance of the vehicle, but they say it will bring down the consumption in the test cycle. So really looking forward how that plays an effect. Then of course the Coupé is styling wise my absolute favorite. Look at this floating line, and of course this very sharp Coupé ending right there. The main dropping line for design at the height of the door handles, and especially in this matte gray paint you can see a lot of play with light and shadow. Very beautifully done. Although it's, you know, almost this dramatic 63S look, it still keeps somewhat of the elegance. And then also towards the rear, those massive rear shoulders that are forming right there. And well, the matte paint is really great to touch. You can even hear that how I touch it. So there's really matte haptical feeling for that too. We will soon also compare convertible and sedan. Well, looking at the rear, that's where the C63S loses a little bit of its subtle elegance and is really like, I am the master. And yes, you might ask, is this already the aerodynamic package? Yes, it is. So therefore the rear wing is even a little bit bigger. If you would not have the aerodynamic package, it would be a little bit slimmer. Same also for this rear diffuser. If you have the aerodynamic package, which is inbuilt with this car, optional even for the 63S, then this part here is even more massive as you see it right now. Those end tips, well, we have discussion about it so often, and they are not connected to the actual exhaust. And some of you said, yes, that's a fake exhaust, me too. And some others said, yeah, it somehow still belongs to the exhaust because the air is coming out there, but I can really, you know, get in there, and there's literally no connection to the real exhaust in there. Mercedes says it's design reason. Well, it looks massive for sure. And they also do not want the exhaust to move, because in the actual exhaust, you know, by the gas that are flowing in there, always move a little bit then. And those outer tips, they do not move. And that's also a thing that Mercedes or AMG wants. Also, there's one practical advantage of this. If you have a slight rear crash, well, you might have to replace the tips, but you do not have to replace the whole exhaust. That would be one advantage of it. And what they've also changed is the new rear differential lock. It's an electronic differential lock, and it helps you to somewhat control this abundance of power just at the rear axle. So for example, when you accelerate out of the corners, the inner wheel of the corner is reduced in the wheel spin then, and that gives you more traction. So guys, what's powering the thing? 4-liter V8 bi-turbo. This is also the one-man, one-engine concept, so a handcrafted engine in the AMG manufacturing in Affalterbach. This one here gives you either a 476 horsepower with a 63, or then, as we see it right now here, 510 with the 63S. 650 Newton meters versus 700 Newton meters of torque. And the acceleration to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour is 4 seconds versus 3.9 for the S version. By the way, for the convertible and for the estate, it's always 0.2 seconds more because they're a little bit heavier. And for the Coupé and for the sedan, the figures are just the same. Let's take a look at the interior. Of course, just one door or two doors when you count the other one. Then inside here, you see everything is wrapped tightly, high build quality, this matte aluminum style, very clean, optional Burmester sound system. Then what is new here with the facelift? All AMG models receive this AMG steering wheel, a new one. You have a flat bottom, this new two-spoke design. And this one is also equipped for the C63S with outside here Dynamica microfiber, and this one also all the way covered in microfiber. I would so recommend you to go for that one. Also optional with the 63. You have a great grip. It feels great in winter and summer times. So racy and also more sustainable. Then you also have, you see in the middle console, you have a carbon fiber trim here for the 63. And in general, you can also get new trims there, not only this black piano lacquer, which Brian and me were criticizing a little bit lately. You also get a wood trim available for that one now with the C-Class in 3 different wood trims. Then those seats, those ones are the optional performance seats. They always show them at display because they look better. But I would, see integrated head restraints as well. But the just standard sport seats, I would recommend those because they're more comfortable. Those ones here, if you want to go to the racetrack, and the other ones, the standard one, if you, you can save money and just pick the standard ones for more long-term comfort. Also, this is the optional animal skin pack. The standard, that's the good thing, also with the performance cars of Mercedes or Mercedes-AMG. The standard seats come with a combination of inside microfiber and outside leatherette. So it's called Dynamica on the inside, it's the brand of the microfiber here. And the outside is Artico, that's their name for their leatherette. And that is a great choice, and you get them both for the normal sport seats and here for the performance seats as standard. So you can, for once, leave something standard because so much else is still all optional with this vehicle. So, a little bit different here also with this, with the steering wheel. There we go. Yeah. So it's electric control here for the steering wheel, for the reach, for the height. Very easy to control. You might see that, wait a minute, there's one lever missing. So here, there's usually one lever more for the Distronic Plus if you go for that optional, but that's now here a lever just for the steering wheel. So the Distronic Plus, the ACC, Adaptive Cruise Control, which we also see in the sensor in the front, is now here, like with the CLS we've recently shown you. So you set the Distronic Plus, the Adaptive Cruise Control, right there. And it's an easy solution, it works a little bit better actually. Soon more also to the infotainment system because there's a lot to discover here still, I can promise you. First of all, the seating comfort here, you can control the inside of the doors. Will be easier, of course, when you're sitting in the car and the door is closed. Only not so good for the display here. And well, those seats are indeed very stiff. So again, for the racetrack, great. For everyday comfort, not so good. If I put the seat in the lowest position possible, I'm 1.86 m or 6'1", well, that comes quite close here. So we'll see how that one changes also with the sedan because the A-pillar is quite low. This is also with the panoramic roof equipped here optionally. So not the easiest for people that are even taller than me. But for me, it's actually totally fine and a very sporty look to the front. I think you should also see that in person. This is the interior overview. Also again, very strong lines, horizontal ones in the top part. And then you can see again the microfiber steering wheel, which is pretty large actually, also with all of the commands, really, really control center. It could be a little bit over the top, or what do you think? Then those 3 big air vents, they remain the same. You can see here the digitalization continues right there. It's not as with the E-Class or the CLS that we have 2 screens that go through. This one then in the middle part starts at about 7-inch, and optional then this 10.25 inch. The biggest one is available with this widescreen format. So pretty impressive also with the map we can see there. We're right there in New York today. Special greetings to all our viewers from the US. And you can also see the key that is fitting here with the Coupé with the 63. Pretty slim, looks now very modern, and with the description we can also, it's graphite grey magno. That's the name of this matte color we've seen on the exterior. Other than that, standard here still with the analog gauges or analog controls for the vents right there. Good to reach them, and an analog clock. AMG logo for this carbon fiber and cup holders right there. USB port to connect your phone. Soon also more details to the infotainment screen in detail. Here we go with the all-new digital gauges, also with a nice welcome show. That was pretty fancy, wasn't it? New 12.3-inch digital screen. Standard is 5.5, just a small one in the middle. Then optionally, you can get those ones here. So base, you can still get analog ones, but those ones then are the optional ones. And they, in the 63, also have special performance gauges, for example, for oil temperature, engine temperature and stuff. G-force meter, as you can see here. This is then special for the AMG models. And of course you can also have different information in here, like for example GPS information, radio, media, or the phone information, or you can also set different settings for the head-up display here. And this is the head-up display, just small to see here. You can also get GPS information on there, but the main thing is of course to have your speed always in your line of sight. So to control those new digital gauges, on the left side you have this left touchpad for your thumb. You can control the left screen, go back to the home menu, or just click inside there. Comes pretty handy actually. And on the right side it's basically the same. You use your right thumb. It's really a good safety feature also that you don't have to put your hand off, and then you can control the right screen. Also go back to the home menu, scroll in there. And it's basically a little bit redundant because you can also use the classic controller then still in the middle console. Also you can optionally get those new gauges at the steering wheel. This one, you know it maybe from Porsche, where you can turn the different driving modes. The same they have done here: race mode, Sport Plus, Sport, comfort mode, then suspension settings, engine settings, throttle input, steering is all changed. Individual, you can also change that. You can also press here in the middle, but that doesn't do anything. This one here is really about turning the knob. And well, it comes actually quite handy. And in the middle part, it's really an own small TFT display. And on the left side, this is basically dual command. So you press on the separate screen again. Then you can, for example, change what you want to change. Like here the ESP or suspension, and on the top part then, or suspension and ESP, or suspension and exhaust. And then if you want to change this function, this display, then you click the outer parts. For example here the suspension setting you want to change then. Pretty interesting. And here the exhaust valve. And it always comes with one, so you can make it louder for your neighbors, for example, or more silent for your, your very friendly neighbors. And here we go again with a 10.25-inch screen. It looks really amazing in this widescreen format, definitely. We can also go back to the main menu. That looks like this. Nice visualization of the vehicle here, right? So if we go to telephone, let's take a look. We can, for example, connect it with Bluetooth. That's possible. You can see it right here. There's also the Bluetooth symbol. But it's also now possible if you connect your smartphone then with the cable. The vehicle controls here with the dynamic select is quite interesting. You also have some track pace information. If you are using it on a racetrack, for example, then you can follow your lap times and everything of that. If you're going with a C63 on the racetrack, telemetry data, for example, I would really like to know if you would be someone who would use this data. That would be very interesting. Lower middle console up close. You can fold this one then open, again with the cup holders. This again was the key I want to show you. Then for the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, there was the USB slot in the front. And then redundant control still of the infotainment system with this turning and pressing knob, or also with a touchpad you can write something also like an address. You also get a feedback right there. And left and right, basically the commands I've shown you on the steering wheel. You can change the driving modes right there. They have also updated the 9-speed transmission multi-clutch with a wet clutch technology instead of a torque converter. On the right side, for example, volume rolling knob, or also the exhaust button. So, in this middle armrest, one of my favorites, 2 USB slots here. Those ones are then for charging, and well, reasonable space here really for all the clutter you might have. You don't have some clutter in your car, do you? So the panoramic roof, you first have a shade you can close. If you're living in a very hot climate, still it will be hotter, and then you can also just open it one stage, just a little bit, and then all the way here that we get more light in the interior. Of course, today we are inside, but that's the way it is here with the Coupé. If you want more air, you should take the convertible. Of course, one key element always that we have those free frameless windows, which we can also put down, hopefully, when we switch on the ignition again. So here we go. And then you have a better view, because I want to get inside now. in the rear. Yeah, those very harsh side bolsters of those seats are also a little bit, you know, unpractical. So if you use this lever, you can see that the seat automatically raises a little bit, and then you somewhat can get inside. This is the big disadvantage of the Coupe, of course, and well, so maybe a little bit more help with those, and then how is that even possible? Here we go. Here we go. And then yeah, wow. And well, the ceiling raises a little bit in the rear for like very, very short trips. When someone wants to drop me off somewhere, I could maybe sit here and wait, but really emergency seats for adults, I guess. But you can also have those ISOFIX anchor points on the outer seats, so 2 child seats would still fit here. The trunk you have to open from the inside of the front door or with the key. There's no button here, and then it flips up like this. Well, it is somewhat limited, of course, for the Coupe. You don't have this, you know, hatchback opening. It's still a separate trunk. And it goes pretty wide in there, but is of course pretty shallow, so you're limited by that. Some hangers here for shopping bags, and then below that, well, it's not much space either. And then let's check. Well, we can also flip the seats like this, and then, well, I cannot reach that from there, and then you have to go around. That takes a lot of time as well. But you don't buy this vehicle here for the practicality. Like this, then we can flip. So there's a flip like this. Hey guys, peace. And the other one, here we go. So that's what you got, maximum space available. And now to the C63 Sedan. First of all, this one is the non-S version now, and of course Sedan versus Coupe. Again, the C63 and the S available for Coupe, Convertible, Sedan and the Estate. Well, of course, a different side profile shape, and you see that the 63 non-S, also without the aerodynamics package, is a little bit less dramatic in the front, but just a little bit. In general, of course, it still gives you a lot of power. And also we have another color. Actually, the, you know, deciding factor of the 63 is that we have the rear-wheel drive only here. That is the, you know, the pure factor for the sportiness. The 43 then, which we'll take a look at soon, is then always coming with the all-wheel drive. So that's the main differentiation also between the 43 and the 63. And of course, here with the V8 under the hood, the 43 soon the 6-cylinder. Side profile is different. The Coupe folds down, more dramatic, bigger shoulder line. But this one here will give you more room on the inside. I will soon show you that. Spider design rims, 19-inch, so a little bit different. I really love those styling. Do you? Also, the rear lights, they are different because the Coupe and the Convertible, they both have those horizontally drawn. This one's here a little bit more upright. But with the facelift now, they've also changed the LED light signature, which then again moves it a little bit closer to the other versions. This one has a little bit more dynamic look. I really like the subtle change they've taken here. Also, you can see here that the rear spoiler is not that big as you would have it with the aerodynamics package. This one then is standard 63 rear spoiler. I think, you know, that's still quite okay, although I in general meanwhile like once more that have a just smooth design line without any big spoilers. What's your take on that? So here with the Sedan, the door is way easier to open because it's shorter, not that heavy than with the Coupe. Also easy to get inside. We have basically the same seats here, also with the same control and everything. But you see that the A-pillar is slimmer and, you know, I'm not that close then here. Differences are also not minor, basically. But you get the feeling when you're sitting in the Coupe that you are in a little bit sportier vehicle, although the driving dynamics is basically the same. Also, the speed, as I've told you, is perfectly the same. Here, also interesting variation, again, microfiber on the outer part of the steering wheel, and then this carbon fiber on the top part. That also looks quite fancy. would also be a nice variation. So, but I think the all microfiber is somehow more, in the total racing style. Oh, it's really hard to decide this time. So this is then the new AMG steering wheel without those additional, small TFT screens. And as cool as the function might be, it really looks cleaner and therefore also sportier that way it is here without those. And let's get in the rear. Here we go. So this is of course the advantage of the sedan. I can probably sit and get in here. Some more knee room still left in front of my knees. Headroom wise, I do exactly not fit in here. So when I put myself a little bit more upright, I do hit the ceiling with my head. Then again, the Estate, the T model, which we are getting in Germany, a very popular one for the C-Class, that one then solves this problem. But when I go a little bit lower, then I can basically live with it. Other than that, you already see from here that you also will have to flip the seats from the trunk and then flip them around. But you can make yourself quite comfortable in here at least. And what about the trunk right here in the sedan? Let's go here, you can reach widely in there. And of course, a little bit better square dimension than with the Coupe. Yeah, it's always the question, design versus versatility. In the same way, you can also flip the seat then right there. I can also do it here from the right side, unleash them like this. The mechanism is a little bit weird, I have to say. So here we go. And then we can reach through, and this height is actually the same for sedan and coupe. And now to one of my favorite cars overall, a C43 Convertible, or also I would also be satisfied with a C400, but we got the 43 right now here. Well, this one here then with 6 cylinders instead of 8, this is the main difference, and this one always with all-wheel drive. The distribution here is already a little bit sportier, 31% in the front, 69% in the rear. Yes, this time I really got that right. And the normal all-wheel drive distribution with the non-AMG models would be 45% in the front and 55% in the rear. So here a little bit more torque always at the rear wheels, that you have a little sportier drive around the corners. Visually, of course, the convertible here with the open top, still a great choice. In the front it's basically all the same. Just with the 43 models you can see they do not have the vertical fins like the 63 models, they have those horizontal fins. Whereas I really like this diamond pin grille, and the diamond pin grille you may be seen on a couple of shots in other reviews. This one then you get with the AMG line. But as soon as you go for the true AMG model, you're already in the 43, the front grille graphic changes. Rear side profile, you see one straight design line heading over to this spoiler in carbon fiber. The 43 also has round exhaust tips, you see in the lower part. I found them a little bit more elegant, but it's the same, they are not really connected to the real exhaust one, so they are just a design choice once again. Let me tell you something about suspensions, because the C-Class in general standard comes with normal steel suspension, which will do fine for most purposes. Then the dynamic body control is the adaptive suspension. That one is also standardly equipped with the AMG 63. Of course, then with the AMG's tune, you can also get this adaptive suspension for the normal C-Classes and all of the versions without the AMG tune. And then optional also the air suspension. For example, if you want to say, you want a very, very, very comfortable one, then you want, for example, go for a C400 with an air suspension. We've tested that one here as a convertible also. Check out the full driving review of that one too. Here the 43 or the 63 models, then more with the sportier tune again. And with the E-Class, they say, we take an air suspension and make it AMG-like. Here in the C-Class, they say we take the adaptive steel suspension and make it AMG style. And with the C43, well, it's not one man, one engine concept. It's just, you know, from the normal assembly line, but we got a slight different design here, just with a little AMG badge. And 3-liter displacement, 6 cylinders, and here 390 horsepower now. That's just around 20 horsepower more than before the facelift, so a small power upgrade. And the acceleration figures here are 4.7 or 4.8 seconds, depending of if you get a coupe or convertible. So it's not exactly 1 second, just a little bit less than 1 second difference to the 63 models, so still pretty fast. That's because the all-wheel drive can get a lot of power from that one on the ground. Here also with another decor style, a little brighter style. I think I would prefer that one over the darker carbon fiber. And an overview of the convertible interior, also again the same performance seats. You see they're a little bit slimmer, but then again the rear legroom will still be limited. So we tested that one earlier. Here with red contrast stitches, so you see you can pick from a lot of different stylings still. Convertible, the most limited trunk space. You can go wider in there if you remain very shallow, and if you would close the roof, then this one goes also inward, and then, you know, you are basically back at the coupe trunk again. Well guys, here we go with the C-Class facelift with the top performance versions. And well, the Estate, the T model, is the most reasonable choice if you want to combine family life with their performance life. The coupe looks so much the best, I think. The convertible, I want to drive the most because I'm such a convertible fan. And the sedan is somewhat in between though. So well, there's plenty of choice depending on your preference. Which one would you actually go for? Sedan, coupe, convertible, or the Estate? Tell me in the comments. And what about 43, 63, 63S? Which one is your favorite? My favorite is actually the 43 because it's more suitable for everyday driving life. You get the all-wheel drive, for example. You can distribute the power a little bit better, for example, also in slippery conditions. And also price performance-wise, it's also a little bit better. And this one here, the 63, of course, already a little bit more dramatic. But if you want that, of course, that's the one you would go for. The facelift changes are rather subtle on the exterior, more than with the interior. Again, of course, when you want to have that optional, all the digital stuff inside there. But I mean, on the other hand, you can say, you know, they still just go for it optional. On the other hand, if you want to stay a little bit more analog and a little bit less fancy infotainment-wise, you still have the chance to do so and remain with the older stuff a little bit. What do you think? Give me your comments on that car, and also see you next time.